morning, and welcome to Northern Lights Spiritual Center. My name is David Michael Amari. Usually Ron Amari is doing this, but he's on, where's he on? He's on Zoom today. He's on bed rest, kind of. Okay, so Northern Lights Spiritual Center is a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create the lives we want to live. The Northern Lights Spiritual Center offer practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. We acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and the Coastal Salish peoples. These people are still here, and we join them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of indigenous histories as we work toward honoring and inviting the truth. And now, Reverend Pamela will be in this very room.
We'd like to open with the song in this very room. For those of you who know it, please join in. In this very room, there's quite enough for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. Oh, Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very will lead us in a short meditation. So good morning.
Good morning.
Let's prepare ourselves for this morning's meditation. By allowing ourselves to get comfortable in our seats, placing our hands in our laps in an open and upright position, and allowing our eyes to close. And so let us take 3 deep cleansing breaths in and out together. So let's breathe in and let it go. Breathe in again. And let it go. And one more time, in. And letting it go. So this morning's meditation is centering around letting go. We are actually in the habit of letting go with our breath in and our breath out. And so now we are going to go through and just further and deepen that experience of letting go. And so starting at our feet, say to your feet, relax, release, and let go. Just feel your feet just letting go. And moving up to our ankles, say to your ankles, relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our shins and our calves. Say to them, relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our knees. Say to your knees, relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our thighs. Say to your thighs, relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our buttocks and our pelvic area. Say to them, relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our stomach and abdominal area. Say to relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our waist. Say to it, relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our chest area. Say relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our shoulders. Say to it, relax, release, and let go. And now move to your back. Say to it, relax, release, and let go. And moving to our arms and our hands. Say to them, relax, release, and let go. And moving up to our neck. Say to it, relax, release, and let go. And then moving up to our head. Say to it, relax, release, and let go. And finally, moving up to our brain, our mind. Say to it, relax, release, and let go. And now if there's any other part of your body where you're experiencing any pain, any unease, any anxiety, anything that's in contrast to that feeling of relaxation, to that feeling of letting go. Say to it, relax, release, and let go. And so as we come back into this room, back into this space, we come back with the knowing that when we are in the present moment, we can always relax, release, and let go. And so it is. So this morning's reading comes from my phone.
Yay! Technology.
And it's from mindfood.com. Yes, every part of this needs some nourishment today. So the title is Letting Go, the Importance of Forgiveness. The importance of forgiveness and how it can help you heal. And there's an affirmation from Mahatma Gandhi that says, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attitude of the strong. It has been said that one of the heaviest burdens to bear is a lack of forgiveness. Whether the need to forgive falls on ourselves or others, letting go can have a huge impact on our physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. The healing power of forgiveness. Accordingly, excess level of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, and can act to destroy everything from peaceful sleep to the ability to lose weight. Our immune system can begin to suffer as a result of these heightened levels of stress and place undue pressure on our heart, our head, and our peace of mind. Fortunately, these experiences can be reversed, and just by starting to forgive, we can begin to piece together the pieces of the puzzle that lead to letting go. As Deepak Chopra says, by letting go, we increase our capacity for forgiveness. We increase our capacity for compassion and love for everyone around us, including ourselves. Ultimately, forgiveness is a gift we give to ourselves. Forgiving, not condoning. In order to reap the benefits of forgiveness, it is important to not mistake forgiveness with condoning. The two actions can and should be separated. By forgiving, you are making sure the person who is awarded your forgiveness is no longer in charge of your happiness or lack thereof. Taking back the power means that you forgive the person, not the action. By letting go of grudges, you no longer give that person who wronged you the satisfaction of hindering your happiness. Let go alone. Whilst there's no rule book for forgiveness, letting something go that has been holding you back from experiencing clarity doesn't need to be shared. Instead, when you make the decision to forgive, do so alone. There's no need to tell the other person you are forgiving them. Use the action to make yourself feel better, not the other person. Get in touch with yourself and learn what your own mind needs in order to forgive and let go. Don't make excuses. Regardless of how inexcusable the action, forgiveness is not about telling them what they did was okay. It's about acceptance. By telling yourself that the person didn't know any better, you are assisting in the acceptance process. thereby making it easier to forgive and move on. After all, moving on opens up more spaces for happiness and joy. Where resentment used to live, think of moving on as an emotional freedom that will last you the rest of your life. Considering the inspiring words of Nelson Mandela, who was imprisoned by the South African government for 27 years, yet emerged without bitterness or hatred for his captors. As I walked out the doors toward my freedom, I knew that if I did not leave all the anger, hatred, and bitterness behind, I would still be in prison. And so it is.
Quiet place within my heart, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place within my mind, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place within my heart, and I will
This is a full.
Good morning, Northern Lights community on YouTube and Zoom. It's so good to see you. Well, I can see the folks on Zoom. Thank you for being here, all of you. I'm Reverend Pamela, and thank you, Reverend Michael, and practitioner Stephanie Scranton for bringing us all to this point. My talk today is called Let Go and Let In. And as you can see, there are several things in this. One of them is forgiveness. One of them is making that quiet time. I'm reminded of someone who was interviewing Gandhi after his movement for nonviolence protests spread around the world. And she said, you know, how do you keep yourself centered in the midst of all of this happening? She said, I heard you meditate like for a month, at least every year. Is that true? And he said, well, not anymore. And she looked surprised. And he said, now I meditate for 2 months. And I was reminded of the times that we're in now with the virus moving and changing and affecting our world in so many ways. And this is the time where going in is so important. I like to think that every day it's a new day, it's a new deal. So regardless of what happened yesterday, today we can start anew. We don't have to take the baggage from yesterday
I can't hear you.
and bring it into today.
They can't hear you. They say you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. The speaker is muted?
I just got a message that said Rev is muted.
Okay, so Stephanie's telling me the speaker is muted.
Can they hear you? Ask them if they can hear you because Mark just said this.
Michael, can you wave your hand if you can hear me? He can't hear. Oh.
Okay.
I have to wait a second.
Michael, they can't hear me. I've been chatting away.
Well, good. We need to hear it again.
I'm glad somebody messaged you.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, you shut this off. That got shut off.
Now it's good.
Yeah.
For some reason, that got shut
I
off.
didn't touch it. It wasn't me.
I ain't touch it.
You heard Stephanie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, somebody touched it. So,
The Brennan.
I was saying that the beginning of the year is a good time to go in. Never mind the rest of it. It's a good time to go in. It's a new day, it's a new deal. And spending some time within ourselves is so important. I'm thinking nobody waved at me and said, can't hear you. Well, most everybody's off. So, Reverend Vaughn mentioned in one of his talks this month that he doesn't set goals, he sets intentions. And I like that. Thank you, Raving. I like that. I set intentions too. I stopped setting goals a long time ago because I had a tendency to ignore them. And setting an intention puts a whole other force into the process. So when we set this intention, for example, one of my ongoing intentions is to be someone people enjoy being in the room with. Not one of those people where they say, oh, here she comes, here we go. Or, where's she at? Oh, thank God she's gone. So I'm not sure exactly how well my intention is working all of the time, but it's there. And what it does is it actually dictates or shapes my behavior. And it shapes my outcomes. And it's using more than just my left brain around how to be so that people enjoy being with me in a room. So once we set those intentions and we put them out there, we don't have to put our hands all over them and make them happen. We don't have to carve them out of the world of our being. We just allow it to flow. And as has already been said, Stephanie touched on it, Michael Gott, who sang the song Quiet Space, is speaking of it, being able to go into our quiet space, breathe, and allow the intelligence within us and all around us to come through us and to us. Nature is one of the best places for it, but it's not the only one. But nature is very good about opening our minds. But sitting still, sitting quiet on a regular basis helps open our minds. The meditation that Stephanie led us through, where we relax our body, helps us focus on our body and relaxing, and helps push away what is called in meditation the monkey mind, which is jumping all around from topic to thought, gotta do this, gotta do that. By focusing on the body, or on a flame, or on a rose opening in our mind, or on the music. This can bring us center and allow other information to come through. What I have found frequently with meditation is I don't get any burning bush experiences or great ahas. But they do come later. So when I'm meditating, I'm calming my mind, but it comes up sort of like a flower in the spring. Stuff is happening under the surface during the winter, and then in the spring, we have daffodils and crocuses and more. The same thing with meditation. It seems to fertilize the creativity in my mind and produces something a little later. And I'm saying that to say that if you're meditating regularly and you're not getting any great ahas, it doesn't mean that meditation isn't working. So in meditation, we are allowing a bigger power to do the heavy lifting. And in setting intentions, we're doing the same thing. We're getting our little selves out of the way and allowing a power bigger than us to come through and make a way or show the way. So that's letting it in. Letting go is very much what Stephanie talked about in her reading, and forgiveness. And as she said, we often think that by forgiving somebody, we're letting them get away with something. We're giving something up. We're condoning what we consider bad behavior or hurtful behavior. But that's not the case. We're clearing ourselves. I had a friend once who, she and I had a little difference. Well, actually, it was a big difference. She was a roommate many, many, many years ago. And there were some things I didn't like that she did, and then there was something she didn't like that I did, and we stopped being roommates. I met her, I think, 20 years later. She was leading a workshop on dealing with childhood trauma. And she mentioned in the workshop, and I hadn't seen her in 20 years, she mentioned in the workshop that for all of that time, she had been carrying anger and upset about what I did.
Wow.
Now, as far as I was concerned, she did far more than what I did. But that's neither here nor there. But I had let it go. I knew she was leading the workshop. I was willing to come hear what she said. And when she saw me in the workshop, she said to her workshop group that here she is. She says, all this time I've been carrying all of this about what happened, and here she is. She's gone on happily living her life. Well, she was right. I was like, it is what it is, and I moved on. And she said, I could have let it go a long time ago. We didn't see each other for 20 years. Her being angry with me did nothing for anybody, and it sure didn't do anything for her. So she chose to let it go. And it was a healing for the both of us, actually. So letting it go does more for the person who lets it go than anybody else. It's not I'm going to forgive you for your good. I'm going to forgive you for my good. We can be utterly selfish on this when you have my permission. Another thing, we can just let it go. We don't have to go into changes and journal about it and meditate on it. You know, you can actually just do it. Well, Bob Newhart. When he
Stop
was-
it.
Hmm?
It says stop it.
Stop it.
Stop
Yes, thank you. Yes, he was a therapist on television. I'm sure everybody saw it, and these people would, well, this is wrong, that's wrong, and I can't get this, and he just said, well, just stop it. So he didn't go into all of this therapeutic shrinking, what happened to you in your, just stop it. Stop it now. Just do it. I love that. I know it sounds a little harsh, but I guess you had to be there, see the program. But we act like we have to hold it on. We have no control over it. This is who we are and what we do. Well, yeah, and you can let go of it. I also love Frasier, where Niles, this is early in the season. Some of you may recognize this one. Niles comes to Frasier and he's trying to get Frasier to let their dad live with Frasier because the dad was wounded and was no longer on the police force and needed a place to live. And he's trying to get Frasier to move in with Dad, but Frasier says Dad is a curmudgeon, he's sarcastic, he's cynical, you can't make him happy, he's a pain to be around. And Frasier, by the way, is a therapist. But he ain't moving in with Dad, no Dad. Niles, also a therapist, says, well, you haven't seen Dad in a while. Now that you've moved back to Seattle, Dad has changed. He's light, he's airy, he's funny, he's easy to be around.
Yeah, right.
Frasier is saying what Stephanie is saying. Yeah, right. So Niles said, no, come with me, come visit Dad in his poor little apartment, and you'll see, he's a different guy. Frasier goes. Dad says, oh, hi, Frasier. Glad you took the time to drop by. Frasier looks at Niles and Niles says, isn't he funny? The afternoon goes like that. Dad continues to throw out these zingers. Niles continues to laugh and fall off the chair. And Frasier's like, what am I missing here? Well, I love that because Niles said, hey, you know, you could just laugh. You could choose to laugh at all of this instead of taking it all so personally. And yes, we all know, we Frasier folks all know that Dad did move in with Frasier and he did learn to just let it be. But I love it. I love it because I have personal experience in that area. And I'm now at the point where I can do what Niles did with my dad. And not only can I laugh when he gives a little sarcastic zinger, but when I laugh and toss it lightly back to him, he laughs. It's just wonderful. It's just so cute. I love it. So the other thing in the midst of trying to forgive, if you can't laugh it off, is you can act as if you've forgiven them. And that's the beginning of training yourself to actually act like, or in fact, forgive the person. It's a backup to just let it go, just stop it. It's a backup to that. And it can allow you to keep moving and not let all of that stuff hold you back from being the person you're meant to be and accepting others. Something I read said, and I like this one, it said, when that person is in the midst of doing something that gets on your nerves or upsets you or whatever it is, remember why you like them in the first place. And this can be even people you haven't met. You might have to use your imagination on that one, but for people in your family, people, your friends, what was it about them that drew you to them in the first place? What do you remember about them that was precious or good or sweet or kind or generous? And sit in it. And by sit in it, I mean, don't just have a fleeting thought and then go back to, but they're getting on my nerves now. I mean, stay with that thought. Stay with that moment where they put their arm around you, or they brought you a cup of coffee, or they smiled and said, this is my friend. Stay in that moment. And what I have found when I do that is that a sort of new energy is created that reaches over to the other person. You know, we're all energy. And energy is happening all the time. And whatever energy is going on inside of us is touching other people, and something to be aware of is resonating on the same level. So if I'm feeling like crap and that's the energy I'm putting out, I'm going to call to me crap from the people around me. If I'm feeling loving and kind, I'm going to touch that in them. And that's going to come forward. So remembering and sitting in the good that they brought, the good that they are, the moment where you thought, this is a wonderful person, I just love them. Sitting in that changes the whole dynamic, I guarantee it. So letting go and letting it in. I met a person who is fighting a serious fight with cancer, and he's just got both fists up and he's fighting it. Hasn't overcome him. And his favorite saying is, there's now and there's not now. And I'm going to interpret, because actually I've never heard him say it. I've only heard his family and friends say, this is what he says. And we use it now. And it's about being in the present. So with his battle with cancer, he doesn't spend a lot of time saying, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh dear. He's very much in the present. He is totally connected to whoever is in front of him, and whatever it is that he can do, has to do, and so on. And so we've all taken it up. And whenever somebody starts to disappear into, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's still, whenever we bring ourselves back to now, what's happening now? What's happening right in front of us? We so often are dragging the past, you know this, with us. We all know this. We're always putting all the past in suitcases, and we're dragging those suitcases with us everywhere we go. Suitcases of the what should happen, didn't happen, could have happened, wish it had happened, did happen and wish it didn't happen, all of it packed up, and we're carrying it with us all the time, but we don't have to do that. There's nothing we can do about that stuff. So why even go into it? So it's a not now that is not at all helpful. Yes, it's good to learn from the past and move on, leave the suitcase at home in the closet. The not now that we spend time with when we're not busy spending time in the past is the future. Well, what if this and what if that? And I know I'm not the only one who could think a whole lot about tomorrow and next week and next month and next year and totally be out of sync with this moment right in front of me. I know I'm not the only one. You can pretend I'm the only one, but I know I'm not. And so being in the present, who was it who said be there now? Deepak. Or somebody like him. But be there now, meaning, and actually it's the guy who turned into a guru who was not a guru, was an American guy, became a guru. You guys know who I'm talking about. Anyway, be there now became a slogan. But it's also still very appropriate as far as being present and being in the fullness of the moment. Yesterday I was standing in the middle of the woods looking at the trees and the grass and the leaves that were brown and now on the ground and had been thoroughly watered by rain and snow, and there were twigs everywhere, and there was the sky and the clouds, and it was this moment of just being totally present now. There was no whatever happened before or what was going to happen in the future. It was all about this beautiful forest of trees and grass and leaves that were now going to fertilize the forest ground. And I didn't see any bugs. I was so happy. So being present to the present and to whatever's in front of you and whoever is in front of you is so important. There is nothing like giving your full attention to the person in front of you versus thinking about what you're going to say and how what they just said reminds you of this and that and so on. You have just popped out of the now and into what you're going to say next. I guess you could call that the future. And you're generally dragging something from the past to tell in the moment where the person takes a breath and you can interrupt. That is an example of not being fully present. And being able to be fully present, totally present to someone is a beautiful gift to that person. So the now and the not now. One other thing that connects to my personal intention of being a person that people would like to be around in the room is asking myself in the moment, what's the highest and best I can do and be in this moment? Is this a moment to try to help? Or is this a moment to step back and just let them talk? Or is this a moment to smile and play? Is this a moment to be a witness? Many years ago, I had a friend who was an accountant in the same building I worked in for a manufacturing company. And someone in his family died. And he said, he was this tall, imposing guy. He had a lot of dignity and power in his way of being. And he said that he and his brothers went to the funeral. It was out of town. And he basically said they stood in solidarity. So they were a presence of strength in the funeral. And I totally got it. They weren't saying, oh, we're so sorry this happened to you. They weren't saying that. They stood there as a force of love and respect. And that's what came from them into the room. And after he told me that, I have seen it in other funerals and memorial services and viewings where some of the men have simply stood together and just been a pillar of strength. And so, what is the highest and best? What is needed in this moment that I can mentally hold, spiritually hold, emotionally hold? It might be something as simple as knowing for this person in front of me, you are loved. So as we begin this new year, we have some opportunities. It's a new day, it's a new deal. We can shift. As long as we can think, we can change. As long as we're in our right minds. Now, if you're in your other mind, I don't have anything to say about that. But if you're in your right mind, you can make a decision to do something totally different. You can ask yourself, what's the highest and best in this moment? You can trust that there's a power within and around that can come through you and make a positive difference. You can trust that. So this is a good time to let go of the old year and the past and embrace this new. We don't know what it's going to be like, but we're going to be in the now, so it's okay. Here. And start a practice, if you don't already have it, of being in the silence, knowing how it feeds the soul. Thank you for being here this morning. I am going to ask practitioner Stephanie to come to the floor and close us out with a prayer.
So let's take a deep breath in. And just allow it to let go. Allow it to just go. Be in the let go. And so right here in this moment, I'm absolutely standing in this place of knowing that God is all that there is. That there is nothing outside of God. So that means that we are each one with this power, one with this presence. And it's from this place of knowing, from this place of being, from this place of absolute connection. I speak my word and I simply declare that all that has been spoken this morning is truth and it is done. I'm declaring that we're standing in our intentions this day. I'm declaring that we're staying in the present moment. I'm declaring that we are just allowing ourselves time to be in the quiet, to be in the stillness, in that space of allowing Spirit to guide and direct. I'm declaring that we're in the space of letting go, of forgiving. For we remember who we are and whose we are. And as we give our focus to this present moment, we focus on how good God is in our lives. Whatever it is that's going on, God is the answer, and so we can just simply let go and surrender to it all. So we are these perfect beings, having these perfect experiences. And so allowing ourselves to be present to them, allowing ourselves to be in this place of letting go, allowing ourselves to just release all that is no longer serving us. And so I'm so thankful, so grateful for the reminder that at any moment I can decide on how it's going to be. And so let it be that we decide in this moment that we're going to let go, that we're going to forgive, and that we're going to allow ourselves to be. And so I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks. As I release this word to the perfect action of the law, I simply let it go and I let it be. And I seal this by saying, Ashe, Amen, and so it is.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that closing prayer. And if you'd like to hear more of Stephanie, on the last Sunday of the month, which is the fifth Sunday of the month, she'll be speaking here. She speaks every fifth Sunday when we have 5 in a month. And that's just a little taste. And I want to thank you, Reverend Pamela, for that. There's several things I love to take notes because I have to. The idea of the difference between letting go and letting in. It's very, I never quite thought of it that way. It's always, I always love to listen because a lot of times I have thought of something that I get a new twist on. When you speak and when someone else speaks, it's because that's your idea of opening up and being open at the top. Because you allow that, you may not change your mind, however, but you've heard something and it gets your little thought process going. And I love that. It kind of kickstarts. And so thank you for that. Let's see. Reverend Vaughn will be speaking next week. He's home recovering from procedure this week that was unexpected, but all is well. A few bruises, but the healing process is doing its thing. And that's where I am eternally grateful for modern medicine and science that got the modern medicine here. Because several of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for such processes. So in gratitude, I just want to thank everyone for being here, for supporting Northern Light Spiritual Center in whatever way that you support it. Just by being here is your support. Your presence is a support. Your presence lifts us up and holds us, just like we're held in the arms of the divine. Each of you support us in keeping this place alive. And so I give thanks for that. And with that, I just want to say thank you. And we'll see you next week. And for those of you on Zoom, you know what to do. You hang around. Okay. Bye-bye. Shut off this.